This is a further update on the Flint water crisis, or the Flint Holocaust, as I call it. The video is taken from reports from the Rachel Maddow show, and the bastard you see in front of you is Rick Snyder, and he's going to dodge answering a question of appearing before Congress if he's called. So I'm going to play the video, and then I'm going to come back and comment.
There was discussion today during the congressional hearings calling on the former emergency managers as well as yourself to testify during those hearings. Is that something that you do?
Yeah, the first thing is I haven't even been invited to testify. So if that comes about, then I'll seriously look at that issue.
Can you reiterate, if asked to come, you will show up?
Well, again, I haven't been invited. That's a question I'll address when I am invited.
Michigan Governor Rick Snyder's absence was a point of contention on Capitol Hill today in Washington as the first congressional hearing into the Flint water crisis took place. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, led by Ranking Member Elijah Cummings of Maryland, they repeatedly asked why Chairman Jason Chaffetz hadn't invited Governor Snyder to come tell his side of the story.
The problem is that today we are missing the most critical witness of all, the governor of the state of Michigan, Rick Snyder. He is not here. Governor Snyder was a driving force behind Michigan's emergency manager law, which he signed in 2011 and invoked to take over the city of Flint from its local elected leaders. The governor handpicked appointees to run the city, and they decided to use water from the Flint River. We asked the chairman to invite him today, but he would not. We asked the chairman to give us a date in the future for a hearing with Governor Snyder, but he would not.
In a letter to Chairman Jason Chaffetz today, Congressman Elijah Cummings and all of his fellow committee Democrats invoked a House rule that they say requires the committee to schedule another hearing and to invite the witnesses that the Democrats want to hear from. They want to hear from not only the governor, but also the 3 emergency managers that he appointed to run the city of Flint, since they were the ones calling the shots as the lead poisoning crisis unfolded. But for all the political and legal drama today, the thing everybody's going to remember, the thing that I think rattled Washington today about this, was all the Flint residents and former residents who packed the hearing. They rode buses through the night to be there. They held vigils outside. They held there was one Flint mom turned reluctant activist who gave formal testimony today at this contentious hearing. And by the way, when you hear her say MDEQ here, that's Michigan's state environmental agency. Check it out.
The citizens in Flint were assured for 18 months that the water was safe. My home was being tested because of the discoloration of my water and the health issues my family was experiencing. We fought the city and the state, saying there was something wrong, and we were dismissed. I started doing independent testing with Virginia Tech, and 30 tests were done, tests that were performed in accordance to the LCR. My average was 2,500 parts per billion. My highest was 13,500 parts per billion. Hazardous waste is 5,000. Regardless of this information and the fact that my son had lead poisoning, the city and the NDEQ still continued to tell everyone the water was safe as the EPA sat by and watched in silence. I urge you to help restore some of the trust lost and protect all the citizens in the United States by never allowing this to happen again. We need this to happen now, not 10 years from now. Thank you.
Thank you. Again,
It's Leanne Walters, whose family was poisoned and who personally, as a citizen, did everything humanly possible to raise the alarm on the lead poisoning crisis in Flint and to try to protect her family. Congress, for their part, they're still thinking about whether or not they might want to help. Water is still testing at thousands of parts per billion in Flint homes. The lead pipes in Flint are all still in the ground, and there's still no door-to-door distribution of clean water in that city. Still. Joining us now is Congressman Elijah Cummings. He's the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. Congressman Cummings, really appreciate your time tonight. I know you're a very busy man. Thank you.
Rachel, I appreciate you and all the attention you've given to this issue.
Well, Congressman, thank you. You made clear today that it was good that there was a hearing, but this is not the hearing you wanted. This is not the hearing that you and your Democratic colleagues thought needed to happen in order to get to the bottom of things here today. Do you think that today accomplished anything? Did you learn anything?
Yeah, I did learn some things, but what this hearing did do, Rachel, was it laid the foundation for future hearings. As the chairman, I think we've gotten the chairman in a position and the Republicans in a position to show that their policies of austerity and not investing in infrastructure and not trying to make sure that the people of Flint were taken care of with regard to their water problems shows if this is what Republican success is all about, then the country is in deep trouble. And so what we're in a position now where the chairman has said as late as this evening that we will probably be bringing in Governor Snyder, but we also need to bring in, Rachel, the emergency managers. Darnell Earley, who is the one who shifted the water to the source to the Flint River. We sent him, we encouraged and got the Chairman Chaffetz to send a subpoena to him, and his lawyer refused to take it. And then we decided that we were going to send a marshal and another subpoena to him to have him appear. So now the lawyer is saying that he will have him appear. Keep in mind, Rachel, what they did here was you had the state government taking over a municipality and then going in, calling themselves saving money and making things better by changing the source of water, and they made things worse. But I am convinced that the Republicans on the Hill are embarrassed about all this. They know it's wrong. Congressman Kildee and Congresswoman Lawrence have been working up with us very closely from that area, and we're going to get something done. I will not rest until these folks are made whole. In our country, we have a law of jurisprudence that says if you break it, you better fix it. And that's what this is all about.
Congressman, I was very struck today. I have to say I was moved today to see so many people from Flint who rode buses all night long in order to get themselves to D.C. to be there, show pictures of their kids, show picture of the water in their houses. So that's very moving, that very human level. Now, Congress is considering whether or not to appropriate a bunch of money to try to help Flint. We're now hearing that there may be procedural issues for that in terms of the way the Republicans want to stop it. We are hearing that maybe the Democrats will have to filibuster the entire energy bill in order to try to force that through. Do you have any faith that Congress will act to try to help Flint in the face of all those people showing up and bringing human problems to the Congress that way?
Yeah, I have faith, Rachel, but it's going to take a lot of pressure. It's going to take an outside game and an inside game. And that's why I complimented you, because your coverage, a lot of people commented on it today. And by the way, Rachel, I went out into the hall and met with some of the people, and they were so happy that somebody was listening to them. And people were crying. One lady got so upset when she heard about the way they had been duped and the fact that they were probably still had this bad water. She started crying and had to rush out of the hearing. So we're not going to let them down. We've got a whole cadre of people. Now, the Republicans are saying that they're going to work with us, and I'm saying, yeah, show me. Let's make this happen. And Chairman Chaffetz has said that he's working on getting the governor to Washington. But again, Rachel, I do not want to have motion, come motion, and emotion, and no results. I do not want this to be another Katrina where people look back and say, oh, poor people from Flint. And yet, and our children are not made whole, that there's no fund established for all the damages that are being done, and that the pipes are not repaired. We have got to do all of those things. The other thing, last but not least, during the hearing, I complained that we had people in Flint that were paying for water that they could not drink and could not wash in. And why were they paying for that water? While we were in the hearing, the governor made a decision to try to give back 47% of all the money that the people had paid in bills. I told him on TV, that's not good enough. And so we've just got to keep up the pressure. To answer your question, if we keep up the pressure, we will get this done. And I'm determined that we're going to do that.
Congressman Elijah Cummings, thank you. I can hear that this story has wrapped its way around your heart the way it has around mine. So thank you, sir.
Rachel, because I know the damage that it does to children.
See, and this is a fucking joke. That governor needs to be arrested. First of all, he's proposing to give back 47% of the money that people paid for water that they couldn't use. What the hell kind of bullshit is that? When you return something or you haven't used something, you get 100% refund. Yeah, what the hell, you know? So he's telling the people that even though they fucked the state fucked up their water, that they're responsible for it and they're going to have to pay half of the cost for somebody else fucking up. That's a bunch of bullshit. And the Republicans, they know they're caught. They absolutely know they're caught. And Chavis knows he's caught because he's going to have to get Rick Snyder to appear in front of the Congressional committee. And the 3 emergency managers, well, the last one really doesn't count because all the damage was done, and he was put in after Earley left, and basically Earley left after everything was basically disclosed. But Earley's going to take it in the neck on this one, and Kurtz is probably going to take a good portion of it too. The only good thing that's come about from this whole situation is the fact that Earley has been dismissed from the Detroit school district, so he's no longer in control there. So perhaps Detroit will be able to get some more teachers into the schools, get the proper sanitation and maintenance done within the schools, so that they can start getting more students back into those schools and the kids will have an opportunity to learn. But short of that, this is a national disgrace and a national disaster.